Hello, and good afternoon. I hope you all had a great weekend. Hopefully it was restful and everything that you needed. I wanted to create this video just to kind of go over a couple of things to make sure that everybody's on the same page with what is needed for this week. Okay, so obviously welcome to week 6. First things first. The biggest thing, and honestly the only thing that you're going to be doing this week, is your annotated bibliography. That's it. Okay. It is due by Sunday at 11:59, and so I want to make sure that we go over some of the details so that you guys understand what it is that you need to do. Okay. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, I gave you a couple of tips here, but it's actually on one of our documents, so we're going to go over that in just a second. Let me open this up because I thought I had it open. Okay, so first and foremost, let's look at the assignment. Okay, so as you see at the top, I'm going to try to make this big. Here we go. All right, so as you see at the top here, it's got your student learning outcomes, right? So, we're applying the different principles for research and using all this information to basically put this nice, piece of body of work together. Okay, and this is kind of the foundation of your research, right? We know research is a process. We know that it's a lot of things, and basically everything that you're doing builds on the next thing, right? So with that said, make sure you read through all of this information here because, I don't want to lose too much time because I only have so much time on the video, but make sure that you read through the information. Make sure you kind of understand, those parameters. I want to make sure that we go over the requirements, okay? Now, with that said, the first thing you want to make sure, obviously, is that you annotate 10 articles, right? You guys have been focused on doing your research. By now, you should definitely have 10 or more sources, right? So you have 10 or more sources that are ready to rock and roll. You're going to have at least 10 on this annotated bibliography. So if you have more than 10, don't feel obligated to do more than 10. You only have to have 10 of your articles up here in your annotated bibliography. Okay. Secondly, you want to make sure that you want to organize them in alphabetical order. So you're doing it kind of like an APA reference page, but so that's kind of your starting foundation. Once you have that, okay, you're making sure, of course, it's in APA, making sure everything's typed in double space. At that point, you're going to start to write your paragraphs, and that's kind of where we go back up. So kind of go back up here. You're going to write a paragraph about the article. Okay, you're going to include some very important information about each article. And I'm going to show you kind of a snapshot of what it's going to look like. But you're pretty much just giving us a summary of essentially what the article is about, talking about the main points, talking about if it's credible, talking about the author, and all those things. Okay, and we're going to kind of I'm going to show you what the sample annotated bibliography looks like. We'll scroll back down here. So again, obviously, with an APA, your paper is double-spaced. There we go. Your paper is double-spaced. Your paper is Times New Roman 12 font. And I know that with the new APA 2020, there are some changes. So, they are more flexible with the font usage. Unfortunately, Mrs. Davis is not. So we are going to continue to stick with Times New Roman 12-point font for all your documents. So just keep that in mind, okay? Next, of course, just tells you just use correct APA format. So, including your title page, including your page numbers. Now, the only thing you don't have to have is the title header. And I've got to go through some of these documents and take this off. But this right here is not something that you have to have. So we're not doing the running head anymore. That's, taken off. So we don't have to worry about that. The next thing, of course, is including an actual title. And you'll see what I mean when I pull up the sample paper. You do have to have a title. It can't just say annotated bibliography on that title page. You have to have a title for your paper, okay? Next, of course, is making sure that you write in third-person point of view. So there's no first or second-person pronouns for this particular assignment. So you're going to have to get in gear. Make sure that you're using, if you have to, and I'm going to kind of go up here, you can go into your find function. And we're kind of using our document for this, right? But go into your find function and look for your different second-person pronouns. So you kind of see how I just did that. So we're using that find function. Make sure you're looking for the different pronouns that should not be there. Okay. This is a high stakes writing assignment. You want to make sure that you understand, the percentage and the weight that it has in your grade. You definitely want to make sure that you take some time and make sure that you, I don't want to say perfect, right? Because I'm never looking for perfection, but do your very best. Do your very best on this assignment, okay? You want to use the Purdue OWL website, the textbook. You can use the JCC librarians to help you with your APA format and citations. And, of course, I'm posting a lot of information for you guys to use as well, okay? Now, let's go back up. This is, obviously, that's the assignment information, okay? So let's get out of there. Let me just show you really quickly the sample. I'm going to try to make this big. Here we go. Okay, so first things first. Obviously, you see the APA running head. It's gone, right? So APA 2020, we no longer need that APA running head. So that's, something less that we have to think about. As you see, we've kind of got that 1, 2, 3. Comes down about 3 spaces. And here's our title bolded. So you need to make sure that your title, and that it is indeed an actual title, that it is in bold with your font, okay? Make sure that you include that space there. Next will be your name. You'll put Johnston Community College, and then you will put the name of the course, which is English 112, Writing and Researching the Disciplines. And then next will be my name, your instructor. You can put Mrs. Davis, or you may also put Instructor Davis. You may put Professor, whatever is your preference, okay? And then, of course, after that comes the date. Now, the last thing on the title page that you have to make sure is there, of course, is our page number, right? So you can actually go in, and I like to do this on Screenocast because it kind of shows. But, you can double click up there and you see how I've opened it up. And now I see the page number. You're going to make sure that you do it manually. So you always do the top of page, come down to plain number 3, and then now pretty much it has, and I'm going to backspace because it's messed up the font now, but you always want to do that top of page in plain number 3 so it gives you the correct page number, okay? Now let's get out of there. We're going to scroll down. All right, here we go. Here's the meat and bones of our assignment, right? So the first thing that you're going to do, obviously, you're going to put annotated bibliography kind of as a header here, right? You're going to make sure that it is bold, right? And then the next piece is, first of all, making sure, and it's kind of like what we just talked about, making sure that you've already put all your APA citations in alphabetical order. So that will probably be the first thing you want to do, okay? Then after you've done that, you can actually go under each one. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. And you're going to actually write about the article. So you're pretty much just giving a summary. It's really, really simple. You're giving a summary of what's being discussed in the article. You're telling what's credible, or why that article is credible and why it's going to help your argument. All of these are key pieces that are going to be kind of the foundation that you're laying to help solidify your argument for your 2 papers. So you'll have your rhetorical analysis as well as your proposal paper. So just think about it as that. And honestly, you're using that same information. So, it may be a little repetitive, right? You're going to use that same information as you begin to write those papers. So think about it that way. You're kind of doing half the work here with your annotated bibliography, where you're able to kind of go ahead and put together some different ideas and things that the author that you, or the author from the citation that you found, what the information that they found, you can use some of that information to say, okay, this is what I found before, and I'm going to utilize this information again to kind of, make my point about my problem or solution, okay? So as you see, and we'll just kind of scroll down, same thing going down, right? So it's in alphabetical order, and it's all nice and neat. We've got a summary under each one. They're including sources and different citations, and you can have in-text citations for this. And I always encourage students to do that because honestly, you can use these quotes again. So if you find a good quote and you're like, I really want to incorporate this quote somehow, use it, okay? And then that way you kind of already have it at your fingertips. But as you see, again, it's all in alphabetical order. We've got our page number up there, and that's pretty much it. You won't do a reference page at the very end. I have had some students that have tried that at the end, and I've had to take points off. So just keep that in mind. This is basically your reference page, right? Because you're putting all the references in order, and essentially you're writing about each one. So just keep that in mind. All right, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to kind of minimize here. Okay, the other thing I wanted to make sure that I showed you guys is this lovely folder. I always try to have folders of information because I think they're key, right? Don't you? So once you click on that information, well, in the folder, it takes you inside of this Annotated Bibliography assignment information folder. And there is a checklist that you can use. And again, this is not assignments. These are just pieces of or resources that are there to help you. So you have a checklist, you have an organizer, you have the sample annotated bibliography that I just pulled up. So you have that at your fingertips, so that way you can actually see it and look at it. Okay, so that's there. You also have this folder here, which is tools to help with annotating articles. Now, I love this folder, and let me tell you why. So let's go here. So inside of this folder, right, there is a poster handout, which I don't think I posted it before. Let me just pull all this up. All this information is key and good information on how to annotate articles. Okay, so this shows you how to do it in Word. So it's going to be very seldom that you're going to find a Word document that you're going to be able to download. It may come as a PDF, and that's okay. It's probably about the same concept, but essentially it's showing you how to annotate in Word with this one. Okay, now this one talks about understanding how to annotate. Okay, so understanding how to annotate the information and the key pieces you want to pull out as you annotate. Okay. This last one, I always say that I know this looks very high schoolish, right? And we're in college, but this is just a starter kit for you guys. That's what I like to call it. So it's just, you know, a piece that can kind of help you get your ideas flowing, so you can remember, okay, let me try to pull out some important names and places, some important main ideas, unknown words that you may not know, because sometimes pulling out those unknown words and then essentially, you know, defining them by using synonyms and actually looking them up in the dictionary.com. Those, you know, little things, right, with annotating will help you. So think of it that way, okay? And then, of course, you can just use the rest of that, okay? So, you know, this is just some key pieces for helping you annotate the article so you can pull out the details that you need for your annotated bibliography. Now, also, and I'm going to go back and I'll show you. So inside of this folder also, this is the, let's see, this one was the, this is the organizer, I believe. So it gives you this annotated bibliography organizer. You don't have to use it. This is literally for someone that may just be kind of struggling with how to put it all together. It kind of talks about, you know, creating that summary and explaining all that good stuff, right? This is a checklist, which again, just something, you don't have to use it. It's not a requirement. It's just a tool, resource there for you, so that way you can kind of go over the information, making sure that you are covering all this information, making sure that you know it's a reliable source, and making sure that you know that it summarizes the main points. And then, of course, you know, it gives you the little sample here. Okay? All right, now the last and most important piece, and I don't have this in the folder yet, but I will be adding this probably right before I post the video. This right here is a little citation guide. I love this guide because it's color-coded. So first of all, it shows you that the annotations themselves, you know, you have to make sure you include the author's credibility. You have to include the main argument. You have to include at least one reason or additional argument. You have to include some evidence and supporting claims, solution if it's presented, and then of course the purpose of the article. That's going to be for your research. And if you look down here, all of this is the color code. So it's basically showing you, okay, this is the author's credibility. So here's the author's credibility right here. In blue, this is his main argument. Okay. In purple, that's the extra reason or additional argument that you found within that research. In yellow, it's his evidence that supports his claims. In green, it's the solution that he presents. And then, of course, in orange is the purpose. So that's the purpose that, you know, that you're going to be able to use it for your article. But this was obviously for, you know, someone else because it's an example. So think about it that way. Just remember, you can't use third person. So you won't be able to say, I will use, right? But you can say, this article will allow, or, you know, so something of that effect. This article will allow, the research being created to do whatever, or however you want to word it. It's really up to you, right? But just make sure that you're using third person. And I wish I had thought of something else a little better for you guys, so I do apologize for that. But make sure that you kind of think of that, okay? Now, I hope that I was able to hopefully provide a little bit of insight. The only thing you have to do this week is the annotated bibliography. However, you know, if you have questions, right, I know it's one assignment, but it, you know, feels so big. But if you have any questions, please make sure you let me know. I'm always here. Send me a message. If you need to have a quick chat, I'm able to do that as well. And then we can kind of make sure that you're on the right track. I hope that you all have a fantastic